again. I told you I'd record it right away. I told you. It's still green. Everything still okay. So, this is the next part about chord names. Notice I've changed the name. It's chord names. Okay, so this is all fine and good. This is very applicable. But if you're in notation land, let's say you wrote a melody, and instead of writing out a whole complicated piano part, you just wanted to represent the underlying chord or harmony and allow the player to kind of make up how they're going to play that in terms of rhythm. This is common in a lead sheet format, which is something that we will be talking about in our course in more depth. But in a lead sheet style thing, or sometimes like in a rough draft of a larger piece, people will put chords above the melody they've written to suggest a harmony. Now, if I was at a jazz gig, playing guitar, playing piano, playing bass, I would see that chord symbol above the staff, above the melody, and it would tell me, depending what instrument I'm playing and what style the song or the piece is in, I would make an educated inference about what I should do. And that notation looks a little different. So I'm gonna keep this up here just in case I want to refer to it, or contrast with it. Let me move this out of the way again. Okay. So, what do these chord symbols look like? Well, here's one that just says C. Okay, now danger. That's the siren. Did you hear? That was the siren. So, above here, over here, where my cursor is, I was talking about notes. And then they became chord relationships here. Down here, in this style of notation, some people call this like guitar chord notation. Some people call it lead sheet notation. This C, imagine it's above music. Here, let's take it up here. I have my staff up here. Why say it when I can just show you? Let's get these guys out of the way. Okay, so imagine there was music here, do-do-do-do-do, and there's a C sitting above the staff, right? Do-do-do-do-do. But the C up here is telling someone who's playing a chordal instrument to play a C major chord. If you just see a letter name, you can infer, and MuseScore will infer too, that you mean a major chord. So pretend there's music, do-do-do-do-do, and I want someone to play an F chord, an F major chord. That notation tells that person that. It's that easy. That's an FAC. That's a CEG. You could go to the keyboard right now and go play those chords. We talked about those in the last video. But this notation tells us the letter name. Now again, we're not using Roman numerals here because this is like for performance right here. We're not saying, hey, play this Roman numeral. Some people, like myself, if I'm learning stuff really fast and I might actually just scroll down the numbers in the key, which can be a little faster sometimes, in really like short notice situations, where I don't know the songs very well. That happens sometimes. You never know, right? But in this situation, when you're composing something very simple, putting chords above your music looks like this. Okay. Now, what else can you do with these? So, okay. So, what else can you do with these? Well, if I delete that, let's talk about ways you could transform this to mean something else. This is, goodness gracious. gracious. This is, when you see the C and the M, they're saying C minor. What the heck is that? What? It's okay. I got you. So with C, remember the scale degrees we had for a 1 chord in the key of C major? I'm going to scroll down here. We had C, E, G, also known as 1, 3, 5. Now, a lot of musicians will shorthand and call every major chord 1, 3, 5, even if we're not in that key. I'm going to say it again. A lot of musicians will shorthand, for simplicity's sake, and refer to every major chord's construction as 1, 3, 5. Let me get this extra information out of here, right? Because what they're talking about is this relationship: 1, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. It's coming out minor because I am very tired. I'll have to edit that tomorrow. Anyway, so in this case, 1, 3, 5 happens to be the note C, E, G. Now, what about C minor? Well, this is going to be our construction. There, that's easy to see. The difference between the major chord and the minor chord is just that the third is flatted. Now that's not obvious here, right? With just the M. You have to know that ahead of time. But now you do. Okay. Keep going. Sure. Let's do C augmented. And not flat 3. Not E flat. But C augmented, sharp 5, so that turns out to be a G sharp in that case. Okay. And then a C, and I have to hack this a little bit and do this a little different way. Because I forget how to do the superscript. Because it has to be like a little bit smaller like that. And then this one is going to be not sharp 5. Nope. Do you remember? Do you remember? I remember. Do you remember? Flat 3, flat 5. That means E flat, G flat. Those are our basic triads. If you go back and compare this information with these notes that we did from that other video, they're still consistent. But there's more to it than that. There always is. So, let's talk about extensions. Extensions are simple. It is where you keep going, typically, with the thirds. The heck does that mean? So it means if we go down here and we think about it like, okay, what is a C with a 7th? With a 7th. Well, be C, E, G, go up another third to B. Okay, danger. Danger. Pay close attention here. there is a fine detail that drives a lot of people crazy. Go up here, and I'm gonna copy this one and alter it. Make this guy a little bigger. And I'm gonna add that 7, scale degree 7. Capital B. And this actually gets an extra piece of information. Goodness. It's always trying to help me. It's like, don't help me. Okay. No. Aww. Move it over here. Okay. What? Okay. It says C Maj 7. Stands for C major 7. I hope you can hear it because I'm turning the volume down. But this is C major triad. And then we add this B on top of it. Right? Sounds very jazzy, doesn't it? Now, here's something a little different. And I'm actually going to put this over here. I know what you're thinking. What? Yes. C Maj 7 and C7 are different chords. When we have the 7 by itself, it infers a flat 7th. I'm going to say that again. When we see the 7 by itself, it infers a flat 7th. What does that sound like? Well, C, E, G, our major chord. That's a different sound. Here's C major 7. The other term for this is dominant 7th. This is what people mean when they say a dominant 7th. Now, there are a lot of chords. And Dr. Wealthy is getting tired. You can see it. There's a lot of possibilities here. What I want to say is, writing them all out is not really the point of this. It's to understand how we add these numbers onto the ends of things to describe how we're adding more extensions. So what if I had in this same realm, let's go crazy. This is a for instance. Let's say I had C9, let me extend this too, so I have room. C9 sharp 11. Now, compare it to the C7. What do we have? It was back here, right? We still have the dominant 7th chord. We still have 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And we have 9 and then sharp 11. Sounds like this. So here's our C major chord. Dominant 7th, the flat 7th. The 9th, sharp 11th. Pretty hip. If I added can you guess what that difference would do based on what we said earlier? If that said C, ooh, that would infer, copy this, that would infer not a flat 7, but a natural 7, and the 9th, and the sharp 11. So that 9 infers the 7th. Yes, it does, because it's representing a continuation of these added thirds. I'll say it again. It's representing these added thirds if we kept going. Next one, B up to T, etc. I can already anticipate there might be some questions about this concept. You remember, you can ask me in class, you can send me an email, you can write them in the comment section on this video, and I will do my best to get back to you in as short of a time as I can. Now, of course, we could add these same extensions here. The simplest thing I can say, without going crazy on the time here, is that if you see a number by itself, with one exception, it's inferring a flat 7. The one exception is this. At the risk of confusing everyone in the world, here we go. C5. It's a power chord. It's a power chord. Is it really a chord though? Or is it more a dyad? Because it has 2 parts. Well, okay, whatever. I'm splitting hairs. But that's one exception. So if I have C minor, here I'll do it this way. I will copy these. What if I had C minor 7? C minor flat 3rd. Yep. I hope that you're seeing a pattern here. This minor business, the same thing would apply over here when we're adding other things. Same with the augmented. The diminished is the weird dog. I'm going to say this, and then I think I'll call it for this video. There's more I want to talk about, but I'm getting tired, and I don't want to give you too much information if you're new at this. So this is perhaps overkill in the information, but be warned that the diminished chord, there's additional nuance once you start adding 7ths. So if I have something that looks like this, what's the best way for me to write it? Yeah, I'll do it like that. This suddenly got complicated. No, it didn't. So if I see that, actually, I'm gonna do this form first. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I'm getting ahead of myself. See how it's like a little crossed out? This little dog is crossed out here. Arf, arf. It's got a piercing, right? Okay, that's cool. That means a half diminished seventh chord. Okay, cool. Well, means that. Let me stretch this out. It becomes easier to see. I'm going to play this in a second. Half diminished. And then clone it. And then, oops, we're running up against the text. Fine. Fully diminished. Guess what? Yeah. No, not Bob. Let me get this out of the way. Yes. There's so much more I want to say, but I would like this to hopefully sink in a little bit. Let me zoom out a little bit. You can take a look. Let me get my face out of the way here. There's many more. This is not exhaustive. These are examples about how this thing plays out. So, what's the big takeaway? What's the big takeaway here? The big takeaway is this, that when we're talking about this style of chord writing, we have a root, makes it a little bigger for us. This is our root. Right? And then over here, we have quality, extensions, and sometimes this can include accidentals, as we saw with sharp 11. It's also possible to have flats in those as well. Flat 13, flat 9, etc. Okay. I think the next video I'll talk more about this. I think this is a great introduction. Let me zoom out. We can take a look one more time at what we have wrought. Now, I've explained how to write these chords. By the way, when you're writing chords in MuScore, you can input things like C major 7, and it knows what that means. This language is largely agreed upon at this point, especially with the digital age and greater standardization of kind of popular music being represented in sheet music and chord symbols. But of course, it doesn't tell you, like this tutorial has not told you when to use these chords, or rhythm, or even voicing, which is how you would lay the notes out on a staff. This is just to input the chords over the staff. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. I hope that this made sense. If it did not, please reach out because I'd love to talk to you. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. So, see you next time.